How are you today? Hopefully you're ready to work. And we will get on with week 2 newspaper reports. Here's our grid. Now, last week you spent a lot of time looking at grammar and language features, and it was quite tricky. This week we're going to do some research on a given topic of your choice. So all the work that we do in this week will lead up to some writing next week. So we really are going to do some research this week. Now, what we have to do in newspapers for research, we need to pick a topic and we need to answer these questions that are at the top. What happened? Who did it happen to? When did it happen? Where did it happen? Why did it happen? And how did it happen? So I'm going to do some research, I've decided, on the Roman invasion. Now, we've asked you to go on the internet and do some research, but also on the PowerPoint today there is some information about the Romans. So I'm just going to go and get that up. I think it's just here. Hopefully this is it. There it is. So this is some information that I've put together. It's not necessarily in the right order, so you're going to have to pick out bits of the information. Now, to start with, what we're going to do to start with is we're going to write an opening sentence. So I just want really basic information to start with. Really basic information. Lots of detail is not good to start with. We need basic information. So I'll just read this through. It was actually the third attempt at invasion. The other 2 attempts had been unsuccessful. The Romans arrived with 4 legions of soldiers, which is approximately 25,000 soldiers. The Emperor Claudius wanted to invade Britain because of the precious metals and land. They arrived by boat, and there is still some dispute as to where they landed. They probably landed in Kent, on the south coast of England. They later fought for 2 days against the Celtic leader, King Caractacus, and his brother. The Romans arrived with new weapon technology. They had huge catapults called ballistas, and they even bought elephants for lifting heavy equipment and fighting. The general in charge was called, I think he was called Aulus Plautius, or is that Aulus Plautius? I don't know. Anyway, that's what he was called. The Roman army was organised and had better weapons than the Celtic army. The Battle of Midway raged for 2 days, forcing the Celtic army back further up the Thames. This happened in AD 43. So, let's go back. Let's see. So I'm doing the road. So what? I need to answer the question, what's happened? Well, that one's a simple one. The Romans invaded Britain. Romans had invaded other countries as well. Just going to make that a capital. Right. Who? Oh, well, it's the Romans. Again. So that's... I've already put that information in the other box. When did it happen? So we know that the third invasion of Britain actually happened in AD 43. Now, that's where you need to be a bit clever, because if you're writing a newspaper report, you need to write it as though it's happened very recently. And obviously AD 43 is a long, long time ago. Clever people will be able to work out how many years ago it was, but it's a long time ago. So I might not put that date in my newspaper report because I want it to sound like it's happened in the last couple of days, and we are in AD 43. Okay, where did it happen? Now, I know that it happened on the south coast, but I'm not quite sure exactly where. So I'm going to go back to my research. So, blah, 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 blah. So just halfway down it says they probably landed in Kent on the south coast of England. So I'm going to put that. I might need to investigate that further. I'm going to put the south coast near Kent. I might investigate that later. I really like to know where things are happening, and I'm not quite sure where Kent is in England, so I'm going to look that up on a map. Now, why? Right, I know why it happened. I can remember that. It happened because the Romans wanted to get their hands precious metals and our farming land. The Romans had already invaded quite a lot of Europe already, and yeah, they wanted England too. Why not? What, who, when, where, why, and how. Now, how? Well, you can put in here details of lots of different, how many soldiers they had, what sort of weapons they had. You can even go on about kind of Roman formations in the army if you want to. I'm not going to fill that out for now, because what I want to do next is I want to write my opening sentence. So my opening sentence, or my opening paragraph, it should be very, very clear and very, very simple. You can have more than one sentence in an opening paragraph if you want, but it needs to be nice and simple. If I were you, I would aim to answer what, who, when, and where in an opening sentence. If you want to make it a paragraph, then you can go on with more detail, but you need to make sure that it's clear. So my opening sentence, so I definitely need to have a who in it and a what. So what could we have? The Romans have invaded. So that's what they've done. I've got the what and the who there. The Romans have invaded the south coast, because I'm not going to say Britain, because that makes it sound like I'm not living in Britain. I want to sound like I'm living in Britain. In the south coast, the Romans have invaded the south coast. I want to make it sound like it's happening now, so I'm gonna give the truth a bit of scope here. I'm gonna say on Monday night. Now, I don't know whether it happened on a Monday night, but it just gives it that sense of it's happened really recently. Romans have invaded the south on Monday night. Oh, a nice little adverbial phrase here, I think. After many years of failed attempts. There you are. Yeah, I like that sentence. I can jazz it up. I can go back to it later and jazz it up. I can put a bit of alliteration there. The rampaging Romans have invaded the south coast on Monday night after many years of failed attempts. And that's a nice one. I like that one. Yep, happy with that. Now, what I do need to do now is I need to do some more research. I've got the bare bones of everything here, but I need some more information. Now, to gather more information, I can either go back to this piece of writing here. It was actually the third attempt at the Roman invasion. There's lots of numbers there and bits of information that's really, really interesting. But I thought that you might like to see where the websites are that I've got some of the stuff from, make it easier for you to see. So I did type into Google, Roman invasion of Britain for kids, because I find that actually sometimes you'll get a huge Wikipedia page or something and there's just too much information. So sometimes if you type in for kids, you can get better information, certainly more simple. So that's what I typed in to start with. And I've got two websites that I wanted you to have a look at. These will be the first two entries that probably you will be Googled. This one's called Primary Homework Help, which is rather good. You have to scroll right down. It's got loads and loads of information on the Roman. You've probably already seen it before. But then you scroll down, it says third and final invasion. So here we have some good information. So third and final invasion. Nearly 100 years later, in 43 AD, Emperor Claudius organised the final and successful Roman invasion of Britain. General Aulus Plautius led 4 legions with 25,000 men, plus an equal number of auxiliary soldiers. They crossed the Channel in 3 divisions, landing at Richborough, Dover and Lympne. I can't say that. I've never heard of that name before, so I'd be happy if you'd like to tell me how to say that. Lympne? Interesting, yes. Now, I didn't know that, actually. I knew that they landed at Richborough, which I knew was near Sandwich. I've been to Sandwich before. Thought it was hilarious that there was a place called Sandwich. But I didn't know that they landed in 3 divisions. So I'm going to concentrate on the Richborough thing because, again, I want to make it more current. We don't know whether... I don't know at the moment. I need to do more research about what happened at Dover and Lympne. Here, and it says, click here for a map of Kent in Roman times. That is really, really useful because I like to know where things happen. So they landed at Richborough here, Dover here, and right round. So you can see they're sort of hedging their bets there all around that little bit there. Yeah. Anyway, it gives you more information there. That's really interesting. And another really good one is a BBC bite-sized one, which gives you nice, clear information. Again, scroll down. There's a video here to watch. This video is really good because it's got some quotes from Caesar, which you might want to include in your report. And then down here, it's got 3 little pictures. This one here is about the first attempt. This one is the second attempt, and this is the one that I want, the third attempt. So it's got a little bit of information here. So Claudius invaded AD 43. Nearly 100 years after Julius Caesar first tried to invade Britain, the Emperor Claudius finally succeeded. This time the Romans were here to stay. They brought with them new weapons like huge catapults called ballistas. Claudius himself even turned up with a troop of war elephants to make sure the battle was won. That's just what I need. I need a war elephant. But Britain wasn't conquered overnight. It took around 30 years of fighting for the Romans to control most of southern Britain. And you need to remember that when you write your newspaper report. So not all of Britain was conquered in one night. It took a long time. Your newspaper report is only just the one day or the 2 days or whatever. So it's not, we're going to concentrate on the beginning of the invasion, not subsequent battles and things like that. Right, so what I need to do now is I need to record some more information. So this what bit here, again, we know this, the invasion of Britain, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put extra information in all the other ones because otherwise I'll end up repeating myself. Who was it? The Romans invaded. There were Celtic tribes. So the people that lived in England at that time sort of lived in groups. They were called Celtic tribes. The Romans invaded. Oh, what was that general's name? The general was called Plautius, Aulus Plautius. Again, any help with pronunciation would be greatly received, as with spelling, because I can't spell general either. General Plautius, and he was under the command of Emperor Claudius. Sorry about my spelling here, for I will get there eventually. Claudius. There we go. I'm going to check that spelling of Plautius. Yeah. Now, do you remember how many soldiers there were? 25,000 soldiers. And I think, again, I'm going to check my facts, but I'm going to do it quickly for you now. I think that was 4 legions. legions is a group of soldiers, that kind of thing. When, do you remember, you have to be clever with this, it was definitely AD 43. But I'm going to make out like it's happened in the night time with a nice little prepositional phrase there, in the night, Monday night. I'm going to make that up. I don't know if it happened on Monday. Where? Now, I can give some more detail about this. So the 3 towns were called Richborough, weren't they? There was Richborough, Dover, and I'm just going to go back. Let's see what it was called. Lympne. There we go. Lympne. Again, south coast. And the Romans decided to invade in 3 kind of bits. There were 3 strikes on those 3 bits of the coast. 3 strikes. Now, I think one of the battles was called the Battle of Midway, and that's, I think, one of the rivers, so it was further up the river. And also then later on, it was further up the Thames. Why? Because the Romans wanted to expand their territory and empire and own Britain's natural resources. How? Now, I'm going to put the word war elephants because I just love that fact. I did not know that. Why do you think that's a bigger font than all the others? Who knows? Let's make it smaller. War elephants. That's better. War elephants. The Roman army. Now, how? The Roman army were very well organised. And it's fair to say that the Celtic tribal army were not quite as well organised, although very brave, but they just weren't as organised as the Roman army, and they had to fight in a slightly different way to the Roman army did. They were very well organised. They had a lot of resources. Like new weapon technology. And there were a lot of them. And they outnumbered the Celtic armies. Because there was more than one Celtic army, the Celtic armies. Would you like a joke? Where does the general keep his armies? Up his sleeveys. Sorry. That's why I'm going to stick to teaching and not become a stand-up comedian. Right, so there we go. Now, I think I'm going to review my information. Have I got enough information? Is anything a bit confusing? You'll also notice that I've written in note form. Hopefully I'll be able to remember the bits that go in between. So, we've got the invasion of Britain. The Romans invaded under General Claudius, under the command of Emperor Claudius. 25,000 soldiers, 4 legions. Oh, wasn't there something about auxiliary soldiers as well? Yeah, as well as auxiliary soldiers. So they're proper soldiers and then the extra soldiers too. Celtic tribes. They fought against the Celtic tribes. On that, if we go back to this BBC Biteside website. There's lots and lots of information about the Celts, which is great, by the way. Really, really very, very interesting, which you can watch and have a look at. But I don't want to include it in my newspaper report about the first Roman invasion. I'm just going to report on the Roman invasion, not anything else to do with the Celts, not the Celts in Scotland or anything else. Okay. So when did it happen? AD 43, in the night, Monday night. Richborough, Dover and Lympney on the south coast. There was 3 strikes. Midway, Thames. I think I'll remember all of those. I'm not going to concentrate on Dover and Lympney for my newspaper report. I think I'm just going to concentrate on Richborough. Why? Because the Romans wanted to expand their territory and empire. Oh, what I am going to do is I'm going to find that quote from Julius Caesar. So I'm going to end in a minute, but I'm going to go back and find that quote. War elephants, very well organised. They had a lot of resources like new weapon technology. There were a lot of them, and they outnumbered all the Celtic armies. Yeah, I think I've got enough there. If I need any more, I can always go back to it and add to it. Hopefully, year 4, that has been a little bit helpful. Now, you know your opening sentence that you wrote earlier? You're probably going to need that for next week, which is week 3 of newspapers. So don't get rid of it. Don't get rid of it. Okay. Right. Well, that's the end of week 2. I hope you're well. I hope you keep safe. And I'll see you soon. Bye, year 4. Bye.